There is no way I can start my review without showing you this and these. They're gorgeous. I'm so sorry. Let's get to the review. Toy Story 4 is Pixar's latest film and is the fourth installment in the Toy Story franchise, which is a very successful franchise. The first three Toy Story films were, I consider, some of the best animated films of all time. They were highly satisfying. Critics loved them. People loved them. You can obviously tell that I loved them just by the shirt, and if you've seen my reviews, I love all three of the Toy Story movies. I think they are some of the best animated films of all time, and I was kind of concerned walking into this film, because usually the fourth films in franchises, they're not all that great, especially when you have a trilogy that's so perfect. Toy Story 3 ended the trilogy perfectly, and I was kind of concerned for Toy Story 4. I didn't think it was going to be terrible, because I still had some hopes for this movie, and I walked in excited, but a little concerned as well. And you guys might be having some questions in your head right now. Is this movie just as good as the last three Toy Story films, or is this movie a little bit of a disappointment? Is this movie bad, or is it mediocre? No! Thank God this movie did not turn out bad or mediocre. Toy Story 4 is, in my opinion, my favorite sequel in the entire franchise. This film surprised me from start to finish. I had an absolute blast with this movie. This movie is probably the prime argument of the continuation of a franchise. Toy Story 4 gets everything right, honestly. They have a lot of time to flesh out the characters, even Woody. And we get introduced into a lot of new characters. And there were some times where this film just felt like another film that was just going to be made, like maybe an episodic film. But until you get further into the film, and once it reaches into the characters, once we get invested into the characters a lot more, which leads to something very emotional at the ending of the movie, you're like, this is perfect. This story is honestly perfect. And it makes you dump out what you thought of before. And you're honestly like, I don't care that this felt like another continuation that was a little unnecessary. Because this movie wasn't unnecessary. I am so glad that this movie was made. Tom Hanks and Tim Allen are back at it again in this film. They are phenomenal as Woody and Buzz. And their friendship will last forever into the franchise. And without any spoilers, what happens in the ending of this film is absolutely heartbreaking. Tim Allen and Tom Hanks even said themselves that they were bursting into tears while reading their last lines of the Toy Story 4 script. And what happens in the ending of the movie is absolutely heartbreaking. Another thing that this movie has really well is good humor. And it reminds me of humor from the first Toy Story film. There were some moments in this film where the humor was kind of offensive. And the first Toy Story had that kind of humor, and I loved it. And this is without a doubt the funniest entry in the Toy Story saga. This film is flat out hilarious. I was laughing quite a lot in this movie, and that's a good thing for me, honestly. The comedy is really well rounded up in this movie, along with the emotional elements. Now let's talk about the villain in this movie, Gabby Gabby. Such a very interesting character. And I've known this villain's motive before I saw the movie, because I sort of researched this villain's motive, but don't worry, I won't spoil this villain's motive for you, just in case if you haven't seen this film. Which I'm pretty sure most of you haven't seen this film yet, because it barely just came out. But I won't spoil the villain's motive in this film, but it leads to something that you can honestly relate with, and it's so touching. And you understand why Gabby has this motive. And in my opinion, she's one of the best villains in the franchise. And this motive leads her to become something later on in the movie. And you feel bad for her. And I absolutely loved that feeling. It was one of the very few times that I actually felt bad for a villain, especially in a Pixar film. And I gotta give bravos to Pixar for doing that, honestly. And how can I not talk about Toy Story 4 without mentioning the long-lost character in the franchise? Bo Peep has upgraded so much in this film than the previous films. She is a really well fleshed out and rounded character. And the relationship between her and Woody throughout this adventure is exciting to watch. And we get to see these characters get set up throughout the entire runtime of the film. And it was so well done that I honestly felt like they could make a Toy Story 5 if they wanted to. Because this movie is actually that good. But I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't make a Toy Story 5, because from what I'm hearing, Pixar is holding back on making sequels for a while because they want to start making stuff original, which I can really appreciate. Pixar is really good at making original films. And if they want to go for that route, I'm totally down for it. Now let's talk about one of the new characters in this film. Technically, this character is very important in the film, Forky, and he's important because he's the character that causes the plot in this film, which I forgot to mention the plot in this film earlier on in this review. But Woody, Buzz, and the gang realize that Bonnie has created this toy out of a spork that she absolutely loves because she was afraid to go to kindergarten. And while on a road trip, Forky gets lost, and Woody and the gang have to go on this journey to get him back. And the plot sounds simple, but once you watch the film, everything unfolds perfectly. And honestly, I loved Forky in this film. I thought he was going to be a little annoying and somewhat of a character that people wouldn't really understand, but I connected with the character. I thought he was cute. I thought he was charming. I really loved Forky in this film. And Keanu Reeves as Duke Kaboom in this film, really great. And Keaton and Peele as the two new characters, Bunny and Ducky, were really flat out funny in this film as well. Like, they made this film hilarious a lot, and that's what I really liked. I also liked Ally Mackey as this cop named Officer Giggle McDimples. I thought she was really great. All of the Toy Story movies have a great way of bringing new characters to the screen and introducing them to the franchise, and Toy Story 4 is filled with great characters. Let's talk about the animation in this film. First off, the animation, Pixar has reached an insane level of animation. The background scenery and certain elements that occur in this film, like let's say when it's raining in this film, the animation has gone to a point where it looks photorealistic. Like, how did Pixar do it? It looks incredible. The shots look fantastic. The animation is absolutely gorgeous. And for me, this is one of Pixar's golden films, in my opinion. This is one of Pixar's golden films since The Incredibles, the original Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., Finding Dory, and Toy Story 3. I consider this one of Pixar's golden films. It is that good. And I'm extremely excited to see this movie again sometime. I absolutely loved everything about this film. This is easily my favorite Toy Story sequel. And I'm so happy this movie was great and able to live up to the other three Toy Story films. I'm going to give Toy Story 4 an A+. Thank you guys so much for watching this review, guys. Look forward to more reviews that'll be coming very soon. I'm gonna review Child's Play. Hopefully later today. Hopefully later tonight, a review of Child's Play will be posted up. And then I want to finish the Indiana Jones movie reviews. I want to review Temple of Doom, Last Crusade, and The Kingdom of Crystal Skull. And then after that, I'm gonna continue on reviewing MCU movies until Spider-Man: Far From Home comes out. So I'm excited to see what happens in the future of my channel. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this review. You guys are the best. Love every single one of you. Look forward to more reviews that'll be coming very soon. And as always, I am Mario Fan 520, and I will see you next time. Peace out.